beamed with pride. "Oh boy! Did you hear that, Captain? I'm an executive. I'll get my whistle polished immediately." 20 minutes later, Sterling was behind the big desk, and the chaos began. The phone lines lit up like a Christmas tree. "Yes, this is Commander Sterling. The sinks, tell them to use the harbor. Garter belts, send them to the nurses' quarters on the double. And someone tell the canteen, we're hosting a cultural appreciation festival tonight. Bring the hula dancers." By the time Grand Admiral Ironsides stepped off his seaplane, Porto Paradiso looked less like a military outpost and more like a Caribbean carnival. Sterling and Bunny met the Admiral at the pier. Bunny was wearing a floral lei over his uniform. Acting Commander Sterling reporting. "Sir!" Jack barked, trying to hide the sound of a ukulele band playing in the distance. "What is that around your neck, Ensign?" Ironsides growled, staring at Bunny's lei. "It's a local camouflage technique, sir," Bunny squeaked. "Very effective against seagulls." Ironsides turned to Sterling. "I heard Crabtree was dying. I shall pay my respects. But first, I want to see the air raid shelter. I've heard rumors of unauthorized activities." Sterling broke into a cold sweat. He had stashed 35 local dancers and 3 cases of contraband pineapple wine in that shelter. "The shelter, sir?" "Oh, it's currently undergoing a high-pressure humidity test." Sterling lied. "Very dangerous for the lungs." "I don't care about my lungs, Sterling. Open it." As they marched toward the bunker, Crabtree, who had been watching from his hospital window, was rubbing his hands in glee. "Now," he whispered to Smarmy, "watch the fireworks." But Sterling was faster. He signaled his crew. When Ironsides threw open the heavy steel door, the dancers were gone. In their place stood Bunny Barnaby, holding a fire hose and soaking the walls. "Just cleaning the facility, sir," Bunny shouted, slipping on the wet floor and sliding into the Admiral's legs. "Sterling," Ironsides roared. "This base is a madhouse, but at least it's a clean one. Now, where is Crabtree? I want to see if he's actually dying or just dodging my inspection." In the infirmary, Crabtree's plan backfired. He tried to tell the Admiral that Sterling was hiding women in the laundry, but Jack had already moved the dancers into the back of a supply truck. When the Admiral inspected the laundry, all he found was Smarmy hiding in a closet with a pair of nurse's garter belts he had forgotten to deliver. "Crabtree," Ironsides said, looking at the Commodore with pity. "The war has clearly broken your mind. You're seeing hula girls in the walls. I'm ordering you to stay in this bed for a week. Sterling, stay in command. You seem to have a firm grip on whatever it is you're doing." Chapter 3. The Maharaja of Marzipan and the Chicken Greeting. No sooner had the Admiral departed than a new crisis arrived in the form of a golden seaplane. It carried the Maharaja of Marzipan and his 3 beautiful daughters, the princesses. They were seeking refuge from the encroaching Northern Coalition forces. Crabtree, desperate to reclaim his status, insisted on hosting a royal gala. "This is our chance, Smarmy. We impress the Maharaja, and I get a commendation from the State Department. But first, we must rescue them from Sterling's boat." Jack's crew had picked up the royals after their plane developed engine trouble. On the Mackerel 07, the culture clash was immediate. "Greetings, O exalted ruler," Bunny Barnaby cried, attempting a deep bow and accidentally head-butting the Maharaja's bodyguard. The Maharaja looked at the crew with disdain. "Are these men to be trusted, with my daughters and our priceless cargo of ceremonial spices?" "Absolutely, sir," Sterling said, kicking Bunny out of the way. "We are the finest sailors in the Azure Fleet." "I wish to handle this craft," the Maharaja declared, pointing to the wheel. "It looks like an amusing toy." "Of course, Your Highness," Jack said, wincing. Under the Maharaja's steering, the boat performed a series of terrifying 360-degree turns. Bunny Barnaby was thrown overboard 3 times, while the princesses laughed and fed him pieces of tropical fruit whenever he climbed back on deck. When they finally arrived at the main pier, Crabtree was waiting with a full honor guard. He had researched the Maharaja's customs and was determined to show off. "Welcome, Your Highness," Crabtree shouted. "Allow me to perform the traditional greeting of the Marzipan Highlands. Crabtree then proceeded to flap his arms like wings and make loud clucking noises. Wowie, wow, wow, cluck cluck, wowie. The Maharaja stared in horrified silence. Sir, Sterling whispered to the Commodore, that's not the greeting. That's what they do to scare away mountain goats. Shut up, Sterling, Crabtree hissed, still flapping. I read it in a book. The Maharaja turned to Jack. Commander Sterling, please take us to our quarters. And keep that feathered lunatic away from my daughters. Chapter 4. The Gas of Gladness and the Fitness Board. The final straw for Crabtree was Bunny Barnaby. He decided that the only way to hurt Sterling was to destroy his ensign. He convened a fitness board to evaluate Bunny's mental competency, intending to have him discharged. I'll break him, smarmy, Crabtree vowed. I'll show the world that Barnaby is a walking disaster. Sterling knew he had to act. He overheard the ship's medic talking about a new shipment of nitrous oxide laughing gas intended for the dental clinic. Boys, Jack told his crew, we're going to give the Commodore a personality transplant. The night before the hearing, the crew snuck into the Commodore's office. They rigged a tank of laughing gas to the ventilation system. The next morning, the board convened. Grand Admiral Ironsides returned to preside. Sir, Crabtree began, his voice tight, I intend to prove that Ensign Barnaby is a menace to the Navy. He once torpedoed a garbage scow because he thought it was a camouflaged submarine. At that moment, the gas began to hiss through the vents. Crabtree stopped mid-sentence. His eyes widened. A small, involuntary giggle escaped his lips. Is something funny, Commodore? Ironsides asked sternly. Hehe. No, sir. It's just the way you're sitting. You look like a very stern potato. Crabtree burst into a fit of hysterical laughter. He jumped up and slapped the Admiral on the back. Oh, Ironsides, lighten up, you old sea dog. Have a cigar. Have two. Have a garter belt. The room erupted. Sterling's crew began spraying the shrubs outside with the gas, and soon the entire headquarters was in a state of delirious joy. Bunny Barnaby, caught in the crossfire of the gas, wandered out onto the airfield. He saw a rogue enemy scout plane circling above. Still giggling, Bunny hopped into a mothballed anti-aircraft turret. Look at the pretty birdie, Bunny chirped, spinning the turret in circles. He pulled the trigger by accident while sneezing. Osa, what is this? In Kalia Zeng. Osa, what is deseng? The shells arched through the sky in a completely impossible trajectory, striking the enemy plane's engine. The plane spiraled down and crashed harmlessly into the lagoon. Magnificent, Ironsides shouted, wiping tears of laughter from his eyes. Barnaby, you stood in the face of death and laughed. You're a hero. A combat genius. Crabtree was currently dancing on the table with a wastebasket on his head. I love everyone. I love Sterling. I love the Maharaja. Let's all go for a swim. Chapter 5. The Case of the Missing Payroll and the Reptilian Witness. The peace didn't last. A few weeks later, Sterling was ordered to transport the base payroll, $62,000, in small, unmarked bills, to the regional hub at Porto Grace. Crabtree saw one last chance. Smarmy will follow them. If a single cent goes missing, I'll have Sterling in front of a firing squad. In Porto Grace, Bunny Barnaby was tasked with carrying the money bag from the boat to the bank. En route, he was distracted by a beautiful woman with a very distinctive birthmark on her ankle. While he was busy investigating her origins, a group of local pickpockets snatched the bag. Skip, Bunny wailed, running back to the boat. The money, it's gone. A girl, a birthmark, a lamppost. I think I was mugged by a very attractive ghost. Sterling turned pale. If we don't find that cash, we're all going to be digging ditches in Alaska. They searched the port for hours. They were about to give up when they encountered Buster, a 3-meter-long saltwater crocodile that the crew had been feeding peanut butter sandwiches for months. Buster was waddling up the beach, and in his massive jaws, he was clutching a leather satchel. Is that? Jack whispered. The payroll.